My name is Jeff Nelsen, and I'm a musician. I play French horn and I teach. Creativity applies in how I kind of mix myself into the things that I'm sharing when I perform, or the other way around, mixing the music into who I am, being able to figure that out and share it in authentic ways, as well as accurate enough ways to what the other creators wanted with what I'm sharing. And then teaching creativity is a big part of probably tricking students into getting over their fears and seeing they can do it, and emboldening them and giving them that sense of self-efficacy where they can trust themselves and know they can get it done. It's constant work. It doesn't have to be, but work doesn't have to be a difficult thing. It doesn't have to be an emotional thing. Work is, I like David Allen is the guy that wrote Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. And his definition of work is the thing you put to something to take it from its present state to move it to the state you want it to be in. Having grown up on the pig farm, you just get it done. It's kind of interesting to think about what is creative versus what are following the rules. Even when we're following the rules, that's creative too, right? So we each have our own spin on getting it right. So that's another creative thing, is to keep my students from thinking their definition of success is right or correct, versus well and clear or hireable. I love using those unemotional words. It's not good or bad, it's is it hireable or not? And my approaches have always been very performance-based. I do the work and prepare, and then I come out and perform it in some way, whatever that is, in a way to share it with the world and see how I'm doing, and then go back and prepare it again, hopefully make things better. Do we have time for a quick story? I had a student here at IU, and he came in week after week, year after year. He's in his 4th year at this point, so the urgency is getting higher and higher in his mind, and he just kind of played Gliera Concerto and got the notes, and that was his success that he was going for. But he wasn't really missing notes because he was going for the music. He was missing notes because he was trying not to miss. I said, "Okay, Mike, what are we going to do?" He says, "I don't know. I'm working my part and doing stuff." And I said, "Well, let me tell you a story. I was on the farm, and the watering system for the pigs had broken down, and we have 1,000 pigs, and I had the pipe wrench, and I was trying to get it loose, and I couldn't do it. And my dad walked up, and he was like, "How's it going?" And he was 6'6", and I looked up, and I just can't do it. He's like, "Okay, let's go for lunch." And I said, "Okay, what about the pigs?" And he says, "They'll die. Come on, I'm hungry. Let's go." And I was grabbed the pipe wrench, just went triumphantly, got it loose. And I proudly looked up, and he had already kind of walked away, And so this is the story I told Mike, my student, and he kind of went, "Thanks. See you next week." But he came back the next week, and he played like a musician, and he maybe missed more notes, but he had that emotional purchase, and it was really an investment, and took more chances for better reasons and all that, and it was amazing. And I said, "Mike, that was awesome. What happened?" And he says, "Come here." And he called me over, and I looked on his music, and in big letters he had scribbled across the top, "Save the pigs." Being complicated is something I think that I like the difference between complex and complicated. There can be a lot to something, and that's complex, but when a person decides it's complicated, and I've had students say, I say, "What's going on?" And go, "Oh, this and this, and it's a long story." And I say, "Well, what if it was a short story?" And they go, "Well, this, and this." Huh. They kind of go, "I guess it's not, it's complicated." Well, what if it wasn't? What if it was simple? Then it's just this, okay, I see what you did there. That kind of, when it's complicated, we've made it too complicated. It's complex, there's 10 things maybe, but the emotional aspect of complications can really be a weight on me or my students. And, so then, but the other side of that is that can inspire creativity to be able to figure it out, or go have a nap. Well, usually, if I have 2 weeks, I usually take the first 13 days and do other things. Yeah, now that you're making me think about and put a process on it. It definitely depends on what it is, whether it's writing, or I wrote a weekly blog for a year, and then Blair was born, so I haven't written in the last 3.5 years, but I did it every week. But it was, I think I'd release it for Wednesday morning, so I'd write it from 11 p.m. Tuesday till 4 in the morning, and edit, kind of. So for writing, it was, I had a template structure of 2 ideas, the big main concept, and then make it a little bit more specific, and then 3 points to make it clear, and then a to-do. So I'd throw that in the pages, and it was always too much. And then I'd edit it down, and it was pretty great, because after a year of writing, I found, one of the things I learned was I was qualifying myself less and less. When I was less often saying, in my opinion, you know, the nice, polite Canadian, and saying, because I'm the one writing, this is my opinion anyway. So that was good, to get more efficient with my word usage and how many words, and if there's any word that, you know, I could do without, it was fun to refine it and take it out. With horn, it's usually at midnight at the end of the day, and I forgot to practice, and I've, you know, with kids and everything else, and that was the structure. And having rejoined Canadian Brass with the full-time teaching position here, that's the time I play horn down in the basement, and soundproof and all that, and so I've become really efficient with technical aspects, I guess. I have a lot of 3 things. So one is the how, the what, and the why. So the how is technical things, and we need that. We need to know what buttons to push and all that, but that's the lamest of the 3. I want to transcend that as quickly as possible and get into the what sounds did Mozart want, and what would serve the quintet, what would serve this or that. And I'm way better mentally if I'm focusing on that in performance rather than technique. And then the why, am I out there to show off and show how loud I can play, or serve the music and just share this moment the character might have worried about death and whatever stories, and instead of just accuracy. So there's those concepts, and that I think runs through most of my creative process, how, what, and why. And the what and why are the real big ones. I realized one thing with the creative process is that habits are a result. So I'm there doing good work, and if I do that long enough, I end up building good habits. You know, there's a book a horn colleague gave me. It was How the Best Get Better, and he said that if you ever get to a point where you've stopped learning, or you think you've stopped learning, you've hit the wall, you've hit what he calls the ceiling of complexity, and at this point all you can do is break it all down and start again. I love that. And that's what we do every day with our routine, or with what we do. Yeah, it's great talking about the creative process for each person. But when you break it all down and start again, you bring with it all the habits you've made so far, good and bad, or, you know, hireable and unmarriable, and then build it again and keep going over and over and over again, whether it's every 5 minutes, every day, every week, you know, that circle of performance from preparation to performance and back again. Yeah, and for me it boils down to self-knowledge, like getting to know yourself, and then bring that up to the magic line between backstage and on stage, wherever that performance is, whether it's meeting somebody or show and tell, shooting a free throw, playing music, that you bring all you got every time, and then you share it, and you get comments, and the world tells you if it's hireable or not, you know, and enjoyable. But there's always someone who enjoys it out there. It's the other thing, you know, to be able to, and that creativity is, yeah, mixing yourself with the content and giving it, you know, over and over again. So that's the magic of music and sports, I think, too. Is a very highly performance-based thing. You go practice it, and then, you know, it's that same creative circle, you know. Yeah, for sure. Performance. If I'm performing and there is an audience there, then you say process or product? Mm-hmm. Yeah, product for sure. That's the only thing that an audience, I think, can appreciate, in my mind, and it's way better than process. You don't go to an art gallery you don't walk out of an art gallery going, wow, that brush technique was really great, you know, and all. I mean, you would if you're an expert, but that's a super small part of the population, you know. That's definitely a big part of Canadian Brass, is we play for non-musicians, you know. We played for, whatever, 1,500 people last night. Mostly non-musicians or former brass players or amateur brass players or musicians, but it's the wash of the product of the tension and release in the music and the story and all of that. Yeah, I say, you know, process, product, and purpose. That process, it's the lamest of the three. It made the list, and then I got this email from my mom with a bunch of different funny sayings, and one was, the last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on my list. So the process is the lamest of the three, but it made the list because it doesn't happen without it. But I want my students to be bored with it, to just get above the line, enough, not enough, enough. But a lot of people do 2-hour routines and they're working on stuff, or they miss a note and then they go back in the room for an hour and work on their tonguing. Meanwhile, it wasn't that, it was that they saw someone in the audience that they really wanted to impress or decided to fear, got out of the present and missed the note because of mental stuff, you know, instead of the process. Yeah. Whether it's useful and understandable or unique and new, again, I think it depends on the definition of success and what we're after, what we're looking for, because basic stuff has massive value and contributions to all of us. Functionality is important, I think, because connection is important. You know, and why Canadian Brass is still going, and we don't do a lot of esoteric, unique things that serve a super small audience. And again, it's not saying it's of lesser value, lesser value as far as its intrinsic value, you know, but if I want to serve a lot of people. I think that the originality is gonna happen if you go for what you want, and because each person is just by design different, so that originality is, I think, woven throughout. If the person is more interested in sharing of themselves and their version of things instead of regurgitation, and of, you know, that their definition of success is no mistakes, then that person needs to maybe be shown and see and understand and get some impact from seeing that they have more original things of value to share. That was my path for sure. I remember a few times after some concerts, and I knew what notes I missed, but the person said, you know, that you really touched me. I've heard that piece a lot, and it was just this, maybe I do have value, and I can contribute in some way. Those 2 times that happened. They're identical. I mean, and I coach magicians now for this performance as well. And I had a student here who got his degree in magic, and he's thriving in California. Wow. Yeah. I went to LA from the pig farm in Edmonton, Alberta, not in the city, but outside the city, down to LA where relatives were, and one of my older cousins did a magic show. And I was his assistant, and I was just watching. And then we went to the magic store at Disneyland, and then so I started doing it for a while till I got in high school, I think, and then I tried to be cool for a few years, and then came back to it after it. I love that same process of learning the technique and then doing the trick, and it's okay, but then putting a story to it, same as music, but you put your own spin on it and making it alive. So it's not about the technique. Again, it's you transcend that technical aspect of making a coin vanish, and you talk about how the spirit in the house has been dropping coins for a while, and let's see if we can get another one out of the air, you know, that kind of stuff. Plus I sat on planes a lot, so I had a very captive audience. I'd work on a card trick and then say, you know, here, pick a card. Shoot, okay, go back to sleep, try again an hour later. It's a very fine balance. With Canadian Brass, we just did a kids concert, 1,200 kids at University of Illinois. And I do one fire flash at the end of our first piece, but I didn't that. But every other question from the kids was, how did Jeff do the magic, you know? So it's a tricky thing to do a 2-hour concert, and all they want to talk about is that one magic trick. So I've learned to balance that as well along the way. But yeah, it's the same, I think, connection through story, transcending the technique into something that happens, you know, to us. It's been really great. And I was single till I was 35 as well, so I could meet girls by doing magic too. couple things. I mean, I did for as far as history, I did a 36-week tour of Andrew Lloyd Webber greatest hits. In between, I played Montreal Symphony, Winnipeg Symphony, and then was unemployed for a couple years. So I did pit playing in the Canadian Opera Company, and then did Vancouver Symphony for a while, and then joined Canadian Brass, and then went back to Broadway. Played a full year of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, eight shows a week for a year, and then the Pirate Queen for 4 months. So lots of pit playing. And I mean, the big things for me was I never played, a perfect show. So that was my big opportunity and challenge, was to do better with each show. And then for me, I think that music, I love the story and what we're contributing to the audience's experience, that I was still very much giving my version of that music. And unfortunately, the bottleneck happens after, I think, what we're doing hits the microphones. Then it goes to the booth, and then that person, and we're at the mercy of all of the whole orchestra's music going through the person that's running the dials that then sends it out to the speakers. So I ignored that part. And I made it at least sound as awesome as I could right here for what was going on, and among my colleagues in the pit, I think that kind of stuff. And those are creative choices to serve who you can, along the way. And then I had other projects. At one point I was writing down how I was doing stuff on little pieces of paper in between playing and trying softer. And I had a colleague in the Pirate Queen who played, I was the whole brass section. Then there was a wind player, and then Julian pipes and Celtic violin. Amazing. It was great. And that clarinet player and soprano sax played so softly that I was just trying to get as soft as him, and we'd do, that was the good thing about the mics, is if we went softer, they could, so we had that kind of project as well. And I left that show with a whole stack of papers that could have been a routine book, and then my shoulder bag was stolen in Brussels with all those papers in it. Yeah, but I learned a lot. I did Joseph, an amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, for the last 6 months that Donny Osmond was doing it in Toronto. Yeah, it was really great. And there's only one moment where you get to know the show really well after a while, but there's a silence, and then the horn goes, ba-bum, and Donny's up there. There's only one time where there was a Jeff silence. And you hear this deck of cards hit the floor, and boom, I was working on this sleight of hand thing with, Joseph, the show, at the end, there's the mega mix where they come back out and go Joseph, and they dance to it. And I started adding horn rips to the part as well. And I had gone up and talked to Donnie a few times, and that's the farm, I think, aspect of just everybody's sharing the planet. So I went, hey, how's it going? And he was like, come on in, I'm just editing these Donnie and Marie shows. And I was like, oh wow, my sister loved you. I mean, I did too, but he came running down into the pit, and he was like, who did that? I was doing the elephant calls or whatever. And then he looked at me and he said, Jeff. And the whole band was kind of like, how does he know your name? What's Donnie doing down in our room? And everything. And it was just, yeah, that's me. And he signed a poster to the Elephant Man. He was doing all these rips. And I checked in with anyone who might have disliked me adding to the show. So there's that aspect, that when you're going to add to it, you got to do it well, I guess. So that's some other things of not forcing yourself in things, but I was serving the energy of the show, and they liked it, and so it's that kind of stuff you stumble onto, trying things. Yeah, it's not very important. I think you just got to get it right. If you can't do that, you pick C. Creativity is education. I get that's all there is. There's just so much creativity with every response to everything a kid does. It's not good or bad. They're not bad people. They might have done a bad thing, but just all the creative ways of equipping them to be creative. That's what I wanted. And same with French horn. I don't want to teach them how to play the horn. It's pretty simple. You blow, you move the buttons. But then they got to spend 95% of their time alone. So I'm teaching them how to learn, and how to. First step is maybe to become neutral. You don't even have to be happy. You could at least get to neutral and use less emotional words, more scientific or content-based words, and then to make it about the solution, and make it not about what not to do. And most of the time when I ask them, okay, play something, change one thing and play it again. Now we compare. Was anything better? A little bit, but no, yes or no, was anything better? It's really hard for them to just go, yes. They want to go, a little bit, but I still missed this, and I want to be right about these mistakes. No, wait. But try and be right about something that was good. Not perfect, but good. And we don't train them even to do that enough, I don't think. What's exciting is how much creativity there is around education. And I did a TED Talk in 2011, and a couple of the other TED Talkers were talking about the tinkering school in Chicago and all these new types of schools that are being created. And then it's, of course, how do parents afford that and be able to get that kind of creative education to lower the barrier so that more people can have that. But that first step of, if it was 0.0001% better, that gets a yes, it was better. And it just, okay, yeah, okay. But the next thing I ask is, what was good about it? What might have been good about it, let's guess. I say, well, it wasn't, okay, what was it? What did you do? That kind of, whatever you were about to say the opposite. I didn't crack the note, what did you do? And they're like, I played accurately. Yeah. And they're like, was that right? It's that simple to just talk about what to do instead of what not to do. It's such a training of don't mess up. That is definitely from parenting. And that starts super early. So parents should not be doing, we could do a better job with that. Yeah. The sharing of oneself, yes. And whatever comes with that. So it comes with what our fundamental character is and what we think and believe, and then what our priorities are, whether it's to be right or to find the little crack where this unique thing can go through the wall or not. But that's all just in who each of us are. And the sharing of that, even with ourselves. I think that's what I'm obsessed with. It's just self-knowledge and helping others get more and more interested in that, and that they can do it. If I could do it growing up on a pig farm, and I'm teaching at IU with no bachelor degree, president of the National Horn Society, that is definitely not me. No way. But okay, when I agreed to do that for 2 years, I was scared to death of anything to do with the National Horn Society. They're real. I'm fake. They're going to find out, that I'm a fraud. I am, all the way to the council and then the president. But on that day that I agreed, for some reason I had a book with me. It's called Rise. I can't remember who wrote it. On the inside cover, there's a quote, and it was just, you never know how high you've come until you're asked to rise. And it was just, well, okay. If they think I can do it, now it's just the doing. That's who I am, remembered that moment and took that on instead of how many times I messed up and what a mess I am at this or that. That's creativity. It's just, okay, maybe, we got presence and the tools we got to do something. Yeah.